from. You are all welcome to this deep dive workshop with partners focused on promoting an integrated and coordinated approach to development in northern Ghana for a broader impact. My name is Pamela and I'll be moderating this session. I would like for us to start off by introducing those of us on the high table. Please give us a wave, just for them to note.
No problem.
We have from the World Bank the operations manager, Agatha Poloska.
Very good.
Yes, I got that right.
Thank you.
We also have Dr. Suleiman Abdullahi, the board chair for Northern Development Authority. Then we have Amin Abdul Rahman, the Chief Director for the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralisation and Rural Development in our midst. Also, we have the Director responsible for Local Governance and Decentralisation at the Ministry of Local Government, Mr. Samoset Pasa. Also in our midst are different representatives from various development partners, as well as state and non-state agencies, to reduce the amount of time that we will take to introduce ourselves. When I mention your institution, just give us a wave for us to see. So we have in our midst representatives from GIZ on the REACH project, if we can see you, yes. Then we have representation from WENOF, that's HC Canada supported. WENOF, right, we hope they are on their way here. Also from USAID on the Agri project. USAID, right. From the World Food Program. Hi, okay. Then we also have specialists and officers from the Project Implementation Unit of the Gulf of Guinea Northern Region Social Cohesion Project, if we can see you by wave. We also have various officers from the Ministry of Local Government, National Youth Authority, National Development Planning Commission, Ghana Enterprises Agency, Solution for Youth Employment, Microsoft, GIZ DTEC, NADMO. Also again from the USAID, but on the GSAM Performance Accountability Project. UNCDF Local, IOM, Peace Council, Star Ghana, and then GIZ GOVID, right. So you are all welcome, and we hope for a very successful program and rich deliberations. On this note, I would want to call on Agatha Poloska to give us an opening statement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me well. Okay, that's good. So first of all, good morning to everybody, and thank you so much for coming here. It's really a pleasure to be here. Let me extend a special welcome to Mr. Amin Abdul Rahman, Chief Director from the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralisation and Rural Development, and Dr. Suleiman Abdullahi, Board Chair of the Northern Development Authority. Friends, colleagues, development partners, participants, again, very good morning to you. It is my honor and a pleasure to be here and open the workshop on behalf of the World Bank Country Director, who unfortunately is away and could not be here, but that's why I can be here, so it's good. And on behalf of the Country Management Unit, so welcome very much. Let me start by congratulating the entire team at the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralisation and Rural Development for the successful launch of the Ghana SOCO project in November 2022, and for starting the implementation in all the 48 project districts in northern Ghana. It is not a small feat, and I really would like to emphasize it and congratulate for a really good, strong start. It goes without saying that such an important milestone would not have been possible without the support and inputs from several key stakeholders within and outside of the government. Some of them are here, so congratulations. I also would like to congratulate Ministry of Local Government, Decentralisation and Rural Development, my own World Bank team from the Social Sustainability and Inclusion Global Practice, and others for organizing today's deep dive workshop with the development partners and other partner organizations. We are all implementing interventions in the northern part of Ghana. We are all focused on promoting a more coordinated and integrated approach. We are all keen on supporting development in the area of local economic government, local economic development, digital innovations, local governance and social cohesions. So it's a pleasure to be here together with all of you. Let me start by highlighting a few important points about the Ghana SOCO project and today's workshop. Firstly, needs are expanding across the Gulf of Guinea sub-region, where multiple crises overlap. External pressures of conflict, climate change, the post-COVID challenges are compounded by long-standing challenges of poverty, exclusion, and weak governance. All of them may breed marginalization and inequality. And therefore, we need to work closely with each other to explore joint solutions to address these threats in a coordinated manner under this project, as well as outside in everyday life. Secondly, the northern regions of Ghana lag the rest of the country on all development indicators, and we all know that. Northern rural areas lack access to critical infrastructure, such as roads, markets, electricity, public services. Porous borders controls, weak regional organized efforts, lack of citizens' understanding of the risks, and particularly the possibility of spillovers of fragility, conflict, and violence from the Sahel sub-region in border areas, raises insecurity and political instability concerns for the entire country, not just for the northern part. The World Bank Group is committed to collaborating with the Government of Ghana under the Country Partnership Framework to address spatial and other inequalities, to improve socio-economic environment, and to strengthen governance to promote inclusive growth and poverty reduction, which are the key aspects of the World Bank mission. The Gulf of Guinea project is a specific example of targeting vulnerable communities in the north to proactively prevent the spread of conflict from the Sahel, reduce vulnerability to climate change, and strengthen local institutions. It is 150 million financing for Ghana out of the total of 450 million financing from the World Bank that encompasses 4 countries. In addition to Ghana, as you all know and are aware, is Côte d'Ivoire, Togo, and Benin. The Gulf of Guinea project recognizes the need for multifaceted approach of investing in community-level infrastructure that effectively responds to local needs and improves local economic opportunities, youth inclusion, an extremely important aspect, strengthening of local institutional capacity, employing digital innovations, another innovative aspect that is so important and provides so many opportunities in today's world, and regionally coordinated solutions as vital to social cohesion and conflict prevention. The SOCO project is also coordinating closely with development partners to serve as a platform to foster multi-partner response and enhance coordination and collaboration to avoid silos, maximize finance for development, and create large-scale transformative impacts and results in targeted districts in northern Ghana. Only cooperations among all of us, partners and stakeholders, like most of you here today, will bring results on the ground. And therefore today's deep dive workshop is a really timely initiative to engage policymakers and development partners to discuss and explore ways to promote coordinated and integrated development and jobs in northern Ghana. We truly look forward, and I speak on behalf of myself and my team, we look forward to deepening our dialogue with partners as we work together to develop solutions to build local resilience and social cohesion. And with this, let me end by expressing the World Bank's sincere appreciation to the World Bank organizers, to all our partners, to all of you to come take a day off from your busy schedules and participate in this. I wish you fruitful discussions. I would urge everybody to participate actively. Leave your cell phones, on mute if you can, and let's be here and let's do it together. Let's discuss it together. Let's have a good and fruitful discussion, because what comes out of it, we need to have also fruitful implementation of whatever agreements are reached today. So thank you so much, Medase, and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Agatha. So a couple of points I picked from your statements is we all been aware of the multiple vulnerabilities in northern Ghana and how we are all focused on partnering to foster a much broader investment in these areas. And I think it's an appropriate time for us to have these discussions as we roll out the Gulf of Guinea Northern Region Social Cohesion Project. In my first introductions, I think I forgot, those online. I see representatives from IOM online, Akpene and her colleagues, also from Microsoft, Ashi and some colleagues. And I failed to recognize the staff from the World Bank here with us, especially for their constant support during the preparation and rollout of the project. So at this juncture, I'll just call on Dr. Suleiman Abdullahi to give us a statement. Thank you.
Yes, I got two mics. Okay. Thank you very much, and good morning, everybody, those here and those online. I'm very privileged to represent the Northern Development Authority here. Is it on? Yeah. It's on. Oh, sorry, I put it off. Okay, so I'm very happy to be here to participate in this very important meeting. I'd like to just say that briefly, just say a word about the Northern Development Authority on our medium-term development strategy, which was developed with the participation of the district, the assemblies across the 5 northern regions, the coordinating councils and their planning units, development partners, some of whom are here, and also other local communities, civil society groups, international NGOs, and so on and so forth. And one of the critical strategic objective 5 of our medium-term strategy, deals with peace, security, and social emergency preparedness and social cohesion. We consider this to be a bedrock of development, and if we are to get this right, the other development interventions will be successful. The Northern Development Authority has launched its development strategy that prioritizes peace, security, and emergency preparedness and social cohesion as a key to the development agenda, since without development is not possible. And I think the SOCO project resonates with this particular strategic objective. And the security situation in the Sahel, as we know, and its impact and threat to the 5 northern regions and the bordering countries, the Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, Togo, needs urgent attention. And the NDA is very much aware of and mindful of the various initiatives by government, development partners, international NGOs, national NGOs, government agencies, and communities in exploring ways and means to play a coordinating and facilitating role for effective and efficient implementation of conflict prevention and peace initiatives in northern Ghana. The thematic area of peace, security and emergency preparedness and social cohesion have 5 strategic objectives: to reduce the incidence of farmer-herder conflicts in northern Ghana, which in a sense can be an entry point for extremist, violent, opportunist individuals. Secondly, to facilitate the creation of cohesive communities through the delivery of social programs and projects targeting vulnerable groups, persons and populations. And also to collaborate with relevant national institutions to promote and consolidate peace in the zone. And to facilitate development of the development of strategies to achieve a balance between immediate security responses and addressing systematic underlying causes of terrorist infiltrations. Now, we see a great opportunity for the NDA to participate in the SOCO project, and I refer especially to the Global Fragility Strategy, which underlies some of the interventions of institutions like the USAID, to prevent and mitigate violent conflicts in the 5 northern regions of Ghana, but also address the preconditions that would attract violent extremist interventions or actions in that part of the country. And the current threats are real, and we are worried about the conditions that violent extremists can take advantage of. Any strategy for sustainable development, conflict prevention, and stabilization must address the issues of land and natural resource tenure governance and issues of citizenship. For example, the farmer-Fulbe conflicts and transhumance and the numerous land and chieftaincy conflicts in the 5 northern regions are issues that we need to do, if not prevented, mitigated and resolved, or transformed, can contribute to domestic terrorism and violent extremism. I think there are some areas of concern for the prevention of peace building in northern Ghana, and those are the areas that I feel the NDA feels that it has a role to play in the implementation of the SOCO project. And the first of these is the coordination. But to begin, I need to emphasize that the NDA is not an implementing organization. The NDA does not implement projects. It's always been the responsibility and the role of government agencies at the decentralized level to implement projects. I think there is a historical precedent of some projects having been implemented by agencies, but I would say that it is not the NTA, the implementing project. But for us, what we see as critical is coordination, because there are several initiatives from government, DPs, INGOs, and so on and so forth, aimed at conflict prevention and peace building. Some of the interventions have gone on for over 20 years. And there are institutions that are like the National Regional Peace Councils, WANEP, and others, who are working on peace, conflict prevention and peace building. But there is, however, no single state or non-state institution that coordinates, monitors, evaluates, or learns from the various initiatives. And there is no database also to tell us who is doing what, where, and with what results. And there is no database also indicating the gaps that need to be filled and the areas that need intervention and which no one is paying attention to. So the porous nature of the borders between the Sahelian countries and northern Ghana, including the circulation of small arms and live weapons, remain a threat. For us, apart from coordination, the function that the NDA feels is really important that it could play in working with the various coordinating councils, regional MMDAs and others across the 5 regions. It's also this whole area of the learning platforms. There are no existing dialogue platforms to share and discuss experiences across the 5 northern regions for commonalities and challenges. For example, CSO platforms on preventing and countering violent extremism. And there's also the need, therefore, for platforms that cut across all regions, where people with similar interests can meet and share, be it physical or virtual. And that platform could also be used for monitoring, evaluation, and learning. Now, a third area that we identify as really important as far as the NDA's work, but also the SOCO project is concerned, and the role we see as ourselves playing to assist in that role is the database. There is no database that is up to date with the capacity for regular updating that allows policymakers and development partners to design interventions and strategies that are informed by the data Several baseline studies have been done over the years and not accessible in any way, shape, or form to policymakers and the general public. For example, the Fulbe Fulani farmer conflict is ubiquitous and needs urgent attention and interventions and could benefit from a comprehensive database. Finally, I'd just like to say that in all this, the comparative advantage that the Northern Development Authority brings to the table is that it's come through, I would say, very finally, a very difficult period, as most of you are aware, that we've had the problems at the level of, and that has been dealt with the individual concern. And that's, we are not, now, I would just to say, it's a very strong board of directors made up of professionals with many decades of experience in working on development issues. But also, the NDA is also well placed to coordinate and partner with the various MMDCs and MMDAs across the 5 regions. We have 5 regional offices in all the 5 regions. The NDA has offices, so there's the capacity to be able to work with various institutions and agencies that are involved in implementing this project in terms of data collection, monitoring, evaluation, and so on and so forth. So we are very privileged and really happy to be connected with this project. And I would like to end here and hope that we can add a bit more, at least in the course of our discussions today. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Abdullahi. I think some of the things that you highlighted in your statement is the need for us to pursue peace and security in northern Ghana, and then you have identified how we need to do this collaboratively. Also, some gaps that you think that exist is the need for how there are scattered data and then not enough research in these areas of peace and security to inform interventions appropriately. Also, the lack of dialogue platforms at the local level, and then how we could invest in research or consolidate the research being carried out to inform some of these interventions. I just want to allay your fears and say that these are some of the things that SOCO is focused on, especially the dialogue building at the local level. So at this point, I want to hand over to my Chief Director, Mr. Amin Abdul Rahman, to give us a statement. Thank you.
Good morning to you all. Madam Agatha Paluska, representative of the World Bank Country Director, Dr. Suleiman Abdullahi, Chairman, Northern Development Authority, the World Bank team here in present, our stakeholders, our colleagues joining us online, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome you all on behalf of the Honorable Minister for Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, Honorable Dan Butchie, this important deep dive workshop jointly organized by the Ministry and the Bank to engage government partners and other stakeholders to fashion out appropriate strategies to coordinate development interventions in the northern part of Ghana. As you may be aware, the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, in collaboration with the relevant partners, is implementing the Gulf of Guinea social cohesion projects in 48 metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies across 6 beneficiary regions, and Upper Northern region, Savannah region, Northeast region, and the OT region. Following a successful launch of the SOCO project in Bolgatanga in November 2022, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, and the Minister with relevant ministries, departments, agencies, including the Ministries of Finance, Youth and Sports, Food and Agriculture, the Ministry of Interior, the National Development Planning Commission, the National Youth Authority, the Disaster Management Organization, and other stakeholders have tirelessly worked to initiate the implementation of the project in various beneficiary communities. Indeed, the Ministry, as a policyholder and lead implementing agency, appreciates the opportunity the SOCO project presents to us for a more coordinated and integrated approach towards promoting development in the northern part of Ghana and the OT region. I wish to state that this workshop is being organized at an opportune time as the implementation of SOCO project is being rolled out. We therefore intend to explore an integrated development approach towards the delivery of development programs and projects in the beneficiary regions to consolidate the efforts of government and other stakeholders geared towards making a greater impact. Ladies and gentlemen, the SOCO project implementation at the national level has continuously identified and engaged development partners and other organizations to learn more about their programs and projects being executed in the northern part of Ghana, and to identify specific areas for constructive collaboration to complement interventions under the SOCO projects. These interventions will be related to local economic development, digital innovation, local governance, social cohesion, climate change resilience, addressing fragility, conflicts and violence, building local capacity, and promoting local accountability. This therefore requires improved coordination, collaboration, and innovation, which this workshop seeks to trigger. Indeed, this presents an opportunity for us to firm up ways through which the Ministry can coordinate in implementing specific programs in northern parts of Ghana for greater development impacts. It is hope that all of us here as major stakeholders will put shoulders to the wheel to achieve this common goal. On this note, I wish to express our gratitude on behalf of my Honourable Minister for your presence, and wish all of you fruitful deliberations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief Director. Thank you for the reassurance, and we hope that we all put shoulders to the wheel to make this workshop impactful or achieve our objectives. At this point, we'll be hearing from Elaine Chi, who is also the co-tax team leader for the projects from the World Bank, together with Elizabeth Eji, the social safeguard specialist for the project, to give us an overview of the SOCO project as well as the workshop objectives.
Thanks, Kamala. So I think as part of the World Bank team working on the SOCO project, we would like to once again extend our warm welcome and gratitude to the partners, our distinguished guests, the government counterparts, for taking time to be here. So I think we are all here today because we have a common vision, and we really want to see the people in the north of Ghana become more resilient, even in the face of the growing threats of climate change and fragility. So today I would just like to address 3 questions. So firstly is why this workshop? So over the past year, the SOCO team has met with over 10 different partners and all of you, ready to understand the work that is being done in the north. So a consistent team emerged. We are pouring money, resources, and time into the north, but the numbers are not adding up. We're not seeing significant reduction of poverty on the ground. And I think there's recognition among us that efforts sometimes have been fragmented and siloed. And what SOCO recommended approach to really maximize our development impact in the north. So the parts must not only add up, but actually the sum should be more than its parts. So I think to answer this call, the partners have made a lot of important contributions, such as the mapping of interventions in the north, and also having coordinated platforms for partners on key issues like security. So I think this workshop also seeks to support the coordinated approach in this context of SOCO. That brings me to the next question. So what role can SOCO uniquely play? I think SOCO can play a catalytic role for 3 reasons. So So the first is because he has an approach that is multi-sectorial and community-driven, and really geared to tackle a challenge that is unique and pronounced in the North. And that is the spillover of conflict and extremism from Sahel, and along with climate change. The second reason, I think, is because of its wide reach that allows for scale. So it covers about 80% of the 6 regions in the North. And the third reason is also its regional approach, where it brings in neighboring countries such as Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, and Benin. However, this is not possible if we do not partner with y'all and really learn from y'all and also build from your rich knowledge, experience, and accumulated ground experience. So then this lastly is the third question. So what is ahead? This deep dive workshop really seeks to focus on select programs where there is the most direct synergies with our SOCO project at this stage of implementation. But it's only the beginning of a long journey together. And we are partnering NDA on the Northern Ghana Development Conference, and I think that's where SOCO will also continue to engage and have wider dialogues with our development partners. And we also hope that the findings of the scoping report that is led by the Ministry and NDPC, and also the Digital Knowledge Management Platform under the SOCO can help to bridge all these gaps of information and also to contribute towards a more coordinated approach with partners so that we can together then achieve more transformative impacts to really improve the lives of the people in the North. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Elaine. Basically, there's a lot of, should I say, emphasis on why this project and why the focus on the Sahel, focusing still on the spillovers, perceptions of exclusions, which have been overly reiterated by dignitaries, and also the high risk of climate change impacts in these areas. So basically, the objective of the SOCO is to actually improve the regional collaboration and socio-economic climate resilience of border zone communities in the northern regions. We have broader objectives. It is not only narrowing towards this, but also looking at empowering people, providing social inclusion and voice, social cohesion, as has been emphasized, building resilient communities, as Elaine has said, building capacity, digital literacy, which is also a key part of what we are looking at in the long term, and then partnering for synergy, as we see today. So basically, there are 5 components to this project. The first component, which is focusing on investing in community resiliency, and this constitutes about 75% of the 150 million funding. It has 3 components, basically, and under the component 1, which focuses on community investments for local resilience and inclusions. These ones, this component actually focuses on infrastructure in various areas of such as water, sanitation, and hygiene, connectivity in terms of roads and then bridges and all those others, social infrastructure in the face of clinics, schools, health facilities, educate in the areas of education, and of course health. Energy and ICT, which is a driving factor for our digital innovation aspect, and of course national resource management and climate adaptation, where we are looking at irrigation facilities and other climate adaptation activities such as nursery growing and tree planting activities. Sorry. So under the same component 1, there's a component 1.2, which has to do with investing in strategic economic investment for climate resilient economic development, which is also one of the main triggers of partnering, because we are looking at a multifaceted approach to improving the economic environments of these clusters or these target areas. The component 1.3 also is focusing on social cohesion and youth engagement activities, ensuring that our communities are put together in a way that fosters peace and also be a way of limiting the influence of insurgency in the country. Component 2 also has to do with capacity. To be able to foster inclusion and ease of economic development, capacities of our communities and also institutions need to be built well to be able to undertake all of these. Under component 3, which as we know, is a regional project, mainly it's not only focusing on Ghana, but a number of countries in the sub-region, fosters the collaboration or the coordination of activities within these countries, focusing on information sharing and building knowledge platforms that will make sharing of information across and among these countries quite easy. We're looking at component 4, which also focuses on our project management, and then the component 5, the usual zero-sum budget, which will cater for emergencies. We have the geographical focus, which we have already mentioned, 6 regions, 48 districts, as you see on the right-hand side, Upper East and Upper West being totally covered. And of course, the implementation agencies are the Ministry of Local Government Decentralization, and it's also working in partnership with the National Development Planning Commission, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and also Ministry of Gender, which is hosting the grievance system on the project. Now, as we see progress so far in the areas of inclusion, we realize that for year 1 alone, we have been able to allow communities to set in over 217 clusters, who constitute about more than 1,500 communities in these parts of Ghana to come up and select based on their own, should I say, participatory processes, over 500 infrastructural projects that are set to be run in year 1 alone. For today, SOCO is not just looking at these infrastructural processes in infrastructural projects or these other components in isolation, but also wants to be an opportunity to be a catalyst for the coordinated approach, as we have discussed earlier. So basically, our partners, as we have mentioned, again, will include, of course, national and local government institutions and structures. We are looking at development agencies. We are looking at NGOs, faith-based organizations, international and non-governmental organizations, and of course, civil society organizations and other DPs. For covering about 80% of northern Ghana, and to foster this comprehensive, multi-sectoral, multi-partner response, there are certain activities that have been taken and looking at being undertaken within these areas. First, there's been the conscious collaboration with NDA and all major development partners. There's been a scoping study that is ongoing, almost finalized, that is focusing on looking at possible partnerships that is existing. In fact, that has been one of the bases for our involvement of partners today, because they have been pointers to so that we can we have potential to collaborate with in a very, very fruitful and effective manner. Of course, the deep dive workshop, as we are present today, and thank you for coming. And we are looking forward to the conference on Northern Ghana, which is also going to be undertaken this year. And then the Digital Fellows Initiative, which would incorporate students from our institutions, basically University, SD Dombo University of Business and Integrated Studies, UBITS, using these students as part of the integrative project process to be able to pick data from communities, just like Dr. Suleiman has said. We need this data and we want to start from a place which is already existing. As part of their normal activities, they do collect data on a yearly basis, and SOCO wants to leverage on that to also be able to pick out data that will be beneficial to our collaborative, should I say, engagements, as well as the data that we require to be able to facilitate these activities well. And of course, the digital knowledge platform, which is also part of component 3, that will help share knowledge within country and across countries. Now, under the promotion of local economic development, we're looking at investing in public and private partnership platforms, collaborating with relevant World Bank finance projects, and with some of them also being a part of these initiative and flagship initiatives. And then, of course, we are intending to pilot the internship LED program. That is the looking at 3 regions, 3 districts to pilot this LED initiative to be able to draw lessons before it is spread out abroad. With these ones, there's going to be a lot of intensive efforts and intensive collaborations, layer upon layer, to know what the lessons can be drawn and what needs to be done better before we spread it abroad. In supporting innovations, it cuts across. We're supporting innovations and collaboration on activities in social cohesion, also on climate resilience, as we see with Local here today, and then cross-border initiatives. And as we see with IOM present here today, digital innovations, youth empowerment, women economic empowerment, and of course, social risk, and trying to institutionalize that across board as well. So we have so many shared opportunities. I will jump this one because it's been repeated. And for our objective here, the main aim here today, as this is part of a broader engagement and a series of activities, today we are here just to make sure that for all the initial engagements that have occurred, we come out with concrete plans of what is next, how and what are we collaborating on. Basically, that is why we're here today. So today the focus will be on 3 areas: digital innovations, local economic development, and combined we're looking at this social governance, social accountability, and then governance, social accountability, and climate resilience. So I think for the breakout sessions, there will be 3, as we have mentioned. And so for the digital innovations, our focus is mainly on incorporating innovations on all phases of the project. Today we have here with us Microsoft, GIZ DTEG, together with the Ministry of Communications, and then GIZ DTEG, of course, World Bank and Microsoft. For local economic development, we have World Food Programme joining us. We have HC Canada, We North. We have USAID also joining us here today. GIZ also representing there, and of course, the bank on all fronts. And under local governance and climate resilience, we have Local, UNCDF Local, we have USAID, we have IOM, and we have our collaborators who are Star Ghana and then National Peace Council. So the next one, and during the breakout, what we're looking at is that under each of these breakout sessions, there will be presentations from our partners who are going to give us a deeper or an in-depth into what they're really doing, aside what we know or what we know at the higher level. We would come back in a plenary later in the day with our agreed collaborations and actions, and then from there we will initiate actions and then the next steps. So thank you all for being here today. I would also want to say a very special thank you to Star Ghana, Ministry of Finance, and so they are here today not directly as collaborators, but as institutions who are going to guide the scope within which we work or within which we are having these collaborations. A lot of times we have these collaborations without looking at the national structures, and then we've realized that we are repeating the silos again. They are here to also be able to drive us in the way we go and the practicalities of the ground. Thank you very, very much.
Elizabeth, I think that was insightful. I think it's time for us to also hear what our partners have for us. Online we have Angela Yaira-Kwashi, the representative from UNCDF, to present to us what Local is doing. Angela, if you are online, kindly unmute yourself and then present. You have 3 minutes.
Please, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Angela.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, Pamela, and thank you for giving me the slides of what local is, and then I will link it to what we are doing currently in Ghana. I'm trying to see if I can share my screen. Will you allow me to share my screen? Please, can you see my screen?
No, okay, yes. Please be minded, you have 3 minutes.
Alright, now we'll go as fast as so the local climate adaptive living facility is a mechanism for channeling climate finance to local government authorities. We are currently in over 42 countries globally, mainly in Africa, the Pacific, the Caribbean, Asia, and of course the MENA region. And in Ghana, we have been implementing local in Ghana since 2016. We started with 3 MMDAs, and now we are in 13 districts in total, with support from the European Union Platform for Africa, which is currently supporting with 10 of the districts, and then Norway, our government is supporting with 3 districts, in total, so 13 districts in Ghana. And as I mentioned, it supports local government authorities to mainstream climate change adaptation into their planning and budgeting system. And the facility or the mechanism ensures that it is aligned to the NDCs, the NAPs, and of course the Paris Agreement being the ultimate document that we are all reporting against. And it was designed by UNCDF, that was in 2012. And Ghana was actually one of the first countries to start to sign the MOU with UNCDF in 2013. However, with active implementation for Ghana started in 2016. And as I mentioned, it's for local governments, community access to climate finance to ensure that their interventions are resilient to climate change. Local promotes integration of adaptation into their planning and budgeting system in a participatory and gender-sensitive manner. Now, this is one of the indicators we assess the districts on when it comes to our annual performance assessment, to ensure that gender and participation is paramount and is taken seriously. And of course, it is a performance-based climate resilient grant system. As I mentioned, gender and participation is an indicator. Being a performance-based grant system, it ensures that there is a programming and verification of the expenditures at the local level. Now, why do we support local authorities? We feel that they have the mandate first to undertake small to medium-sized infrastructure investment, because that meets the local needs and they understand the local needs at that level. At the same time as well, we are familiar with the funding gap that exists. I'm speaking for Ghana, and currently whilst we are here, we are introducing an innovative approach where local authorities can access more funding through a crowdfunding platform we have designed with support from the European Union. At the same time, too, we are supporting the district when it comes to capacity building. As I mentioned earlier, I'm in the field, and we are at a workshop. The MMDAs currently are being undertaken, or they are going through a capacity building activity with EPA being the technical lead for that on vulnerability assessment. But I had to excuse myself for this very important meeting. Now, this is the local infographic. It shows you that we access finance from various sources, international, being domestic. The domestic right now, as I mentioned, we have this innovative approach of the crowdfunding platform, which will bring access to the diaspora funds or funds within the country for local authorities to be able to implement their resilient infrastructure. Now, the funds are transferred through the intergovernmental fiscal transfer system. We are not creating any ad hoc system. We are strengthening existing systems.
Sorry.
Right, okay. And then, of course, we have the performance-based climate designer, which is an additionality, which is the additional funding that goes to the local authorities to implement climate resilient infrastructure. I believe you will get more information from the booklet that has been shared. And we have, in addition to selecting the interventions, we have the investment menu, which, of course, directs the local authorities in the various sectors that they have identified risks within their jurisdiction to support them in the resilient infrastructure. This is just an overview of where local is currently, and I believe that as time goes on, my colleague Ludovica will be joining, although remotely, in the afternoon, and she will provide further details as needed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Angela. You made it. So this session is for the partners to just give everyone highlights of their program, not to have in-depth presentation. As we move into the side events, you can go deeper on what your programs are really about. So I would hand over to GIZ to just give us broad strokes, please.
Thank you very much, and good morning from my side. My name is Matthias Berthold, and I'm the project manager of the EU-funded REACH project. REACH stands for Resilience Against Climate Change. And to keep it short, I have the pleasure to introduce 3 projects from GIZ that are represented here today. With this, I think it underlines also that we really appreciate this exercise today, and I think it's an important learning, and I also learned now about this project already, that there's a lot of overlaps we all are working on, and I think also to ensure sustainability of our approaches, coordination is paramount. So the 3 projects that are present here today, or some colleagues are also online. There's first of all the Governance for Inclusive Development project, which is supporting more than 100 districts in planning, budgeting and accountability on national and subnational level. The main implementation partner or partner is the Ministry for Local Government, Decentralisation and Rural Development. The project I'm responsible for is the EU-funded Resilience Against Climate Change project. So we are working in total 14 districts in the north of Ghana. Those are all the districts of the Upper West region, plus 2 more regions or 3 more districts from the Savannah region and the northeastern region. And our approach is on one side to promote conservation agriculture as a form of sustainable agriculture which is more resilient towards the effects of climate change. And our other approach is to support planning processes on community and also district level, so community action planning on the community level and the preparation of medium-term development plans on the district level in those 14 districts to, I would summarize it, mainstream climate change actions and for building resilience. Our main partner, implementation partner, is the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, which is also the main partner of an overarching EU-Ghana agricultural program which we are embedded in. I'm also happy that the director of the project coordination unit from this EU GAP, Abu Hudu, is also able to join today. Last but not least, I would also like to introduce another project implemented by GIZ, which is the Digital Transformation for Sustainable Development project. And the main partner is the Ministry of Communication and Digitalization. And the project is supporting companies, especially informal micro enterprises, in the use of digital tools to be able to transform and strengthen their economic situation. So far from GIZ side. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ashi, I see you are online. Can you kindly please unmute and tell us what Microsoft intends to do or areas of partnership? Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Can you hear me clearly before I move forward?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So thank you for the opportunity and again for your flexibility to give a hybrid option. I'm Arshi Gupta. I am the Regional Program Manager at Microsoft Philanthropies Middle East and Africa, and my focus is on strategic partnerships. In terms of our mandate, so as you may already know that at Microsoft our mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And as part of Microsoft Philanthropies, we are the only non-commercial entity within Microsoft wherein we focus on empowering non-profits and communities to realize the potential of technology. In order to do that, we focus on various pillars like skills for jobs, digital transformation, and employee engagement and disaster response. Today, for the purposes of this workshop, we will be focusing on our skills for job mandate. I look forward to going through that in our deep dive session in a bit more detail, but just to give a high level information around skills for job. So our focus is to support excluded and underserved who have not been able, who we generally are not able to reach because they are in far-flung areas with benefits of technology. And we also look at filling the skills gap by looking at the current demand in the market and then filling that demand and supply gap through the different content, tools, and technology solutions that we provide. So yes, really looking forward to the workshop today, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Eva from USA. You have 3 minutes, please.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Eva Osei. I'm representing the USAID.
Can you please use the microphone?
Sorry. So my name is Eva Osei. I'm representing the USAID. Just to let you know that USAID Ghana has 3 technical offices, and one is Democracy, Rights and Governance Office. We have the Health, Population and Nutrition Office, and we have the Economic Growth Office. So what I'm presenting here is more than what USAID does. If you have to collaborate more on local economic development, we also have to look into some of the projects which are not really introduced here, which is being handled by the Economic Growth Office. I'm only going to introduce one of them.
Can you please speak directly into the mic?
Okay. I'm only going to introduce one of them. USAID, from the current country development strategy we are using, decided to use an integrated approach. That means the 3 offices have to work, we have to work together as a team. So we have to concentrate our efforts together, make sure that we don't work in silos. That's why I'm able to present for activities for health and also for economic growth. The social accountability bit is being led by the Democracy, Rights and Governance Office, but then we are looking at quality services delivery with accountability for both health, economic growth activities, and also for water and sanitation. And we are also looking at social cohesion, and that one is also being led by the Democracy, Rights and Governance Office, with collaboration with the economic growth and also some aspects of health. And we've also had the health activity, which is Ring 2 that we all know of, but then the Ring 1 was introduced. Ring is resilience in northern Ghana. And what USAID is currently doing is to make sure that all activities refer to what we call projects here, but then all of them have to make sure that we tap on 17 districts within the northern sector that we call zones of influence. It cuts across the 5 regions in the northern region, but you have to make sure that before you go outside those, you use those 17 districts. And it's only for the social accountability bit that we are going beyond that those regions to parts of Western and also Central. But I know that Soko has a 6th region, which is we also refer to as the Northern region, which is Oti region. The social accountability bit is also looking at that. Though we are working in 70 districts, 63 of them are within the 5 northern regions, and then OT as the 6th region. And we have AGRI. AGRI is agriculture, resilience, empowerment, and economic development for women. And that aspect also has the peace building and also the social cohesion. I have my colleague Eugene on the line who will speak more to social cohesion and peace building activities that we are working on. So when we get into the deep dive, he will be addressing those, and then I will look at the social accountability and governance. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Eva. I forgot to acknowledge one of our critical partners, Solution for Youth Employment. Through our dialogue with them, they linked us up to Microsoft, so I want to acknowledge their presence. Online, we have Akpene from IOM. Akpene, if you can unmute your mic and tell us about IOM. Thank you.
Okay, I don't know if it's how hear me out or IOM. If you don't finish,
Yes, we can hear you, could you?
Okay, well, my name is Ibu, and I work at that. We are coordinating in IOM. And well, within IOM, but more specifically within the IT, we are working on 5 specific pillars. Primarily, we are working for the and for the manipulation.
Could you please speak up? We can hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
It's better.
Okay, so I was highlighting the pillars and which we went, and dedicated the border assessment, dedicated the border management, the crisis preparedness and so on, community engagement, and then the regional cooperation. But more specifically for this category, we highlighted 3 key thematic areas where we feel that in relation to the so-called project. So first and foremost, there's the WASH facility, which we are putting up under efforts to reinforce public health to improve infection prevention and control. I don't know, I still have to go. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, well, primarily it was that we have primarily on infection prevention and control, and we are working with other authorities and communities to provide these amenities to help ensure that our borders are free from infection prevention and control. And the target districts are the Jogoro, Asina National West, and West Georgia, Lampi, and South. And I'm also happy to announce that we have also created some community dialogue platform. I think when the director was together with the director from Northern Development Authority, they were pushing that we create dialogue platforms. These platforms are in existence in communities up north, and this platform seeks to enhance trust between selected border communities and their respective local authorities. We are also working with the local authorities in border areas to address vulnerabilities and grievances through this platform. I'm also happy to announce that we have carried out the vulnerability assessment perception study. We are finalizing, and the findings will also be very informative for the project to help ensure that the interventions will address direct community needs. We also have some community welfare interventions which we are also implementing. Primarily, these community welfare interventions are seeking to improve interaction between border communities and the trade while reinforcing community economic resilience. And through this, we designed some community welfare projects in the form of fence gardening and irrigation facilities, which are being implemented. Primarily, these are the interventions that we are providing now, and during the breakout sessions that we held every month. Thank you so much, and we are happy to be part of this venture. Thank you.
Thank you, Kojo. We'll now want to hear from Candace from the Canadian High Commission on We North.
Okay, thank you. I do have the mic here. I just hope that it's okay. Okay. Good morning. Is it working? Okay. So
you still
that
need to
one as
speak
well?
into the mic. Those online.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Sorry about that. I only needed one out of two. So, for Canada's development programming in Ghana, we have an overall focus of improving equality and well-being for the poorest and most marginalized, particularly for women and girls. So our portfolio of projects in northern Ghana helps to address poverty, inequality, food insecurity, and lack of quality economic opportunities and services in the north, in order to contribute to some of the root causes of social tensions and conflict and insecurity that were discussed earlier. We have a long-standing portfolio and track record of involvement in food security, work on agriculture, livelihoods, and water and sanitation in the north, but we've more recently added a focus on women's economic empowerment and the sexual and reproductive health and rights of women and girls and nutrition. So for example, the We North project, which I know has worked very closely with the SOCO project, is one specific example, which is focused on training women in non-traditional technical trades. But we also have a portfolio that kind of combines different activities. So I won't go through the full list of some of the projects, but in general, we have projects working to support women in agriculture and agriculture processing, women working in specific value chains, farmer-based organizations and cooperatives. We have health interventions and some projects that focus on combining these, so through nutrition-sensitive agriculture, as well as health engagements with communities. So just kind of at a general level, we try to focus on bringing those different aspects together within the same project, so that across our portfolio we're contributing to some of the objectives that are discussed today. In terms of what we would like to increasingly focus on, we're working at ways to better integrate climate smart agriculture and other efforts at climate change mitigation and adaptation. And as well, I think we're very interested in learning how to improve on conflict sensitivity in programming design and how we can better adapt the efforts that we've been working on over the last few years to go in that direction. So I'll conclude there. Thank you.
Thank you, Candace. Finally, we would like to hear from Barbara, representing World Food Programme. Before she comes in, after the session, we'll go into the side event or breakout rooms. We'll have 3 breakout rooms, one for local economic development, one for digital innovations, and one for local governance and social cohesion. Immediately after Barbara would take a group photograph here. Those online would like for you to put on your cameras so that you can also be part of the photograph. Then we can have snack break and then move into the side events. Thank you. Barbara, over to you.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak about WFP. As I close my eyes and listen to many of our partners the World Bank, and also the government. I would say WFP perhaps worked in a silo this year, but having worked in a silo since I've come, it was as if you were hearing us speak and hearing us write. So I'll tell you a little bit about WFP. We're undergoing a change, but we have drafting or getting ready to have our country strategic plan approved. That plan will have a 5-pillar. One is emergency preparedness and response. The other is nutrition. Third is food system, social protection, the fourth, and service delivery, the fifth. We're undergoing a change where we see ourselves moving more and more from direct implementation to facilitation, where our aspiration is to move from reaching a finite number of beneficiaries to an infinite number of beneficiaries, with government leading, supporting key government initiatives. Our main government agencies are the Ministry of Gender and Social Protection, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Food and Agriculture. We also work very closely with NADMOR. Our work is guided by the UN Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework, which we have just signed this month. And much of the pillars and the initiatives that we will be working on will cascade upward into the framework agreement. WFP's comparative advantage, we are leveraging our work in logistics, all things related to food, from production, markets to table. We have many activities. Our focus mainly is in the north. I'm glad Canada is here. We have a huge project that we worked with Canada on, NVAC, for the last 4 years or so, and it has guided how our posture in the north will be, where we have invested in super cereal or nutritious cereal production. This is in Kumasi. Two vendors, actually. One of them are now WFP's food vendor, and we're shipping food to Burkina Faso, super cereal to Burkina Faso, Honduras, Afghanistan. So we look at that initiative as contributing to a Ghana Beyond aid and direct linkages to the GDP for Ghana. The other plant is Yedent, and Yedent really has encapsulated our vision for the north, where although they are not a vendor of WFP, they are a multi-user facility in the production of super cereal, and we believe that is the key value proposition. In our work that we have discussed with the ministry, I think it's the Ministry of Trade, that one of the initiatives that WFP is focusing on in the north is a multi-user production facility, recognizing that perhaps the smart way to go about this is not investing in one company, but investing in hubs that will enable multi-users, and not just from production, but a value added across the value chain, to get investors or to get production facilities from production all the way to market. Our focus are on vulnerable groups, specifically smallholder farmers, women, and youth. We have several projects in the north, and I think I will probably brief more in detail when we are in the breakout session. I look forward to our collaboration. We do, and I'll close with our prioritization on development, peace, and also humanitarian, where we feel that our development footprint is really large and our focus should be on development. And when we speak of peace, we talk of social cohesion and how do we strengthen the social contract between government, the government of Ghana and its people. And lastly, and if necessary, humanitarian assistance, where we have strong partnership with the Ministry of Interior through NADMOR. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Barbara. Before we have the group photograph, just a few announcements. The breakout session for the LED will be on level 3 north room 042. Room 042, level 3 north. And the partners expected to be in that room are GIZ on the REACH program, High Commission for Canada on We North, USAID Agri, World Food Program. Then we have reps from the PIU, from the Ministry of Local Government, NYA, NDPC, and Ghana Enterprises Agency. For the side event on digital innovations, it will be on level 1 north, room 001. Level 1 north, room 001. And in that room, we'll have solution for youth employment and Microsoft, GIZ, DTEC, then the government agencies, Ministry, PIU, NYA, and NDPC. The side events for social cohesion and local governance will be here in this room. And the partners here will be USAID on the GSAM project. We have GIZ on GOVID. UNCDF will be here, IOM, Peace Council, Star Ghana, NYA, NDPC, and then the ministry. We'll have that session until 1, then we go for lunch break, and then we reconvene here at 2 p.m.
Coffee break. What time should we be in the breakout session?
So coffee break is for 15 minutes outside after the group photograph. Any questions?
I do have one. Will the online sessions go online? Will be able to join?
Yes, we have specific links for each of the side events. Thank you. Any other clarification, question? If not, we can take the group photograph. Thank you. Those online, can you please put on
Unfortunately, we can't get everyone online. So can we have those online, the photograph of them online? Please keep your cameras on. Please, we have 15 minutes for snacks and we go to the breakout room. Thank you.
Thank you.